Hello everyone, welcome to Jumbo IS. So today will be the day 12 of geography MCQs and today will be the last day of these MCQs. So we already have shared the notes with you. I hope you already have studied those notes, and in this chapter will also include some important facts like important current affairs and locations and straits and seas and etc. Okay, so let's start with the first MCQ. First MCQ says what? Consider the following statements regarding road transport in India. So today's MCQs are basically based upon transportation and population distribution plus other current affair locations. So number one, road transport in India. Number one, national highways constitutes approximately 2.19% of the total length of the road network. Yes, if we compare national highway, state highway, major district roads and other roads, this is basically in the chronological order that state highways are the least, then more amount of roads are basically state highways, then more are major district roads, and other roads are basically about 80%. Okay, sorry, 40%. Okay, so yes, these national highway is having 2.19 percentage and of the total length road and road network. So next is golden quadrilateral connects Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore or Kolkata. So golden quadrilateral is the basically that network which connects four major cities: Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai and Kolkata. So there is no Bengaluru in this golden quadrilateral. So if we also talk about this golden quadrilateral, it means we have to connect these four locations with the national highways. Okay, so that road transport is basically very efficient and convenient. If we talk about diamond quadrilateral, then this quadrilateral means connecting again these four cities but by high speed trains. Okay, so you have to remember if the question is about golden quadrilateral or diamond quadrilateral. So statement number 2 is wrong. The north-south corridor connects Srinagar to Kanyakumari. In India, we have north-south corridor from Srinagar to Kanyakumari, and also we have east-west corridor from Silchar, Assam to Porbandar, Gujarat. If we talk about the National Highway 44, it is the longest national highway in India, which again connects Srinagar to Kanyakumari. Okay, so yes, the north south corridor connects Srinagar to Kanyakumari. Option statement 1 and 3 are right. So option B, only 2 will be the answer because statement number 2 is incorrect. Next is with reference to Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, in which we are talking about the development of rural roads. Okay, so all those areas which are basically rural in nature or in the Himalayan areas, so all these regions will be covered under this Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, which was earlier started in 2000s. Okay, so consider the following statement. It is a centrally sponsored scheme with a fixed funding pattern between union and states. If we talk about normal union and normal states basically, then the funding pattern will be 60-40. 60 will be given by center and 40 will be given by state governments. And if we talk about northeastern states and Himalayan states like Jammu and Kashmir, basically these are the UTs. If we talk about Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh and all other northeastern states, then funding pattern is 90-10. 90 is given by central government, 10 is given by state government, and all UTs will have 100% funding from the central government. So statement number 1 is right. It is a fixed funding pattern. For Himalayan and northeastern states, the population criteria for connectivity is a minimum of 250 persons. Yes, if we talk about the plain areas, then the threshold limit is 500 people, and if we talk about hilly areas, then 250 people are the threshold, and this is the population criteria. Okay, so that statement number 2 is also right. Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana Phase 3, which was earlier started in 2019 up to 2024 to 25. Now the Phase 4 is basically in the process, like 2024-25 to 2028-29. This is the fourth phase of Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana. Okay, so it focuses on the construction of major bridges up to 500 meter in plain areas. If we talk about the length of bridges, then it is about 150 meter for the hilly areas and 200 meters for the plain areas. So it is not 500 meter in plain areas. So that is why the statement is wrong. This is a very factual question and these details can be missed. So these details should be remembered through these MCQs. Okay. So statement number 1 and 2 are right. Third statement is wrong. So option A, 1 and 2 will be the answer. Next is consider the following statements about Atal Tunnel. It was the world's highest and longest tunnel at this much amount of latitude, altitude, not latitude. Sorry. So Atal Tunnel is basically, it is the world's longest highway tunnel at an altitude above 3000 meters. Yes, it is about of 9.02 kilometer. So statement number 1 is right. It was constructed by National Highway Authority of India. All the roads like in border areas or Himalayan areas is basically built by BRO, Borders Road Organization, which works under Ministry of Defense. Okay, so statement number 2 is wrong. It ensures all weather connectivity between Manali and Lahaul Spiti. So yes, earlier Rohtang Pass was the area and it was basically closed for 6 months because of the heavy snowfall. But by this tunnel, ultimately Manali and Lahaul Spiti are connected all throughout the year. So yes, it ensures all weather connectivity between Manali and Lahaul Spiti and ultimately Leh area. So statement 1 and 3 is right. So how many statements are correct? Then option B, only 2 will be the answer. Next is regarding inland waterways in India. Consider the following. India has around 111 national waterways. Okay, so earlier we have around 6 national waterways. Then we ultimately added 105 waterways as national waterways by an act. So now we have 111 national waterways which are present in Indian rivers. But till now we are just working on first 6 national waterways. So statement number 1, national waterway 1 facilitates navigation on the Ganga Bhagirathi Hooghly river system. So if we talk about national waterway 1, it is going from Allahabad to Haldia, Allahabad from or Prayagraj, basically from Uttar Pradesh to West Bengal. So yes, it is Ganga Bhagirathi Hooghly river system is navigated basically through this national waterway 1. National Waterway 3 is located in state of Kerala. Yes, from Kollam to Kottapuram. So this is West Coast Canal system is called National Waterway 3. If we talk about National Waterway 2, it is on Brahmaputra River from Sadia in Assam to ultimately Dhubri in Assam. Okay, so National Waterway 1, 2, 3, these are very, very important. So you also have to remember these 3 national waterways, but the first 6 national waterways are more important. So you have to go through also National Waterway 4, which is again from Jion Khali to Paradeep or Talcher area. National Waterway 6 is from Lakhipur to Bhang. Okay, so you have to remember all these things. So National Waterway 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are very, very important. Inland water transport requires more land acquisition than railway and roads. If we talk about inland waterways, then there is no requirement of acquisition of land. It is basically on the river system. But again, if we talk about the loading and unloading of goods and other things, then yes, it requires some land acquisition, but not more than railways and roads. So statement number 3 is wrong. First and 3 is right. So option A, 1 and 2 will be the answer. Next is in the context of major ports in India. India has 13 major ports, starting from Deen Dayal Upadhyay or Kandla port in Gujarat to Mumbai port to Jawaharlal Nehru port. Then we have Kochi port in Kerala. We have Mangalore port in Karnataka area. We have Ennore port. We have Cochin port in Ennore port and Tuticorin port in Tamil Nadu. We have Vishakhapatnam port. We have Port Blair port. We have Vadhavan port as 13th major ports of India. Okay, so yes, Kolkata port is the only riverine major ports in India because Kolkata port is present on the banks of Hooghly River and not on the sea area. So yes, it is only riverine port, major port in India. So we only talk about Kolkata and Haldia. Both are the riverine port, and these two are basically one major port in India. Okay, so statement number 1 is right. Jawaharlal Nehru Port, Nhava Sheva is the largest container port in India. Yes, it is very, very important. It is present in Mumbai area. All major ports in India are currently privately owned. No, all major ports are not privately owned. Basically, we are just trying to follow landlord port model in which the government is giving all the lands on lease to private companies, and these ports are privately operated, but the land is basically of government. So statement number 3 is wrong because not privately owned are all the ports. So statement 1 and 2 are right. So option A, 1 and 2 only will be the answer. Next is, which of the following is the primary objective of Setu Bharatam project? This project was basically to construct rail over bridges, rail under bridges, because sometimes this is the road network and there is the railway line, railway crossing. So people have to wait here for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and ultimately there can be some accidents also here. So we also wanted to have rail over bridges and rail under bridges, that all the railway crossings should be separated from the road network. So that is all about Setu Bharatam project. So to build 100 new airports in regional towns, then answer is no. To connect all ports with high speed railways, then answer is no. To make all national highways free of railway level crossings, then statement number 3 is right. And to renovate Grand Trunk Road, then this option is not the answer. So the option C will be the answer. So what is Setu Bharatam project? That is clear to us. Next is regarding Indian Railways, cross subsidization refers to, it is basically to balance out the fares and to balance out basically the benefits of population. If we want to have that common people should have the transport network accessibility at a very very affordable cost, then multiple other industries and other goods and goods trains have to pay more. So that is cross subsidization, that if the ticket price of population or the mainly people is basically low, then goods trains basically have to pay more. That is called cross subsidization. Using profits from passenger tickets to fund freight trains, no. Using high freight tariff to keep passenger ticket prices low, because ultimately people have to vote and they are gonna vote for the next government. So if the railway so if the railway transport is too luxurious or too highly unaffordable, then government can have less reach on the people. Okay, so yes, this is cross subsidization, that is one of the tactics of politics. So you have to have high freight tariffs to keep passenger ticket prices low. So option B will be the answer. Next is the Bharatmala Pariyojana focuses on which of the following areas? It is focusing on economic corridors, it is focusing over industrial corridors, the development of green highways, green national highways, green state highways, border and international connectivity roads, yes, constructed mainly by BRO, coastal and port connectivity, yes. So all this is your Bharatmala Pariyojana, that everything will be connected so that trade can be facilitated, which can impact Indian economy to a very large extent. So yes, all these are basically the focused area of Bharatmala Pariyojana. So option D, 1, 2, 3 will be the answer. Especially if we talk about coastal and port connectivity, that is the objective of Sagarmala Pariyojana as well. Because in Sagarmala, port connectivity, port led development, and port led infrastructure development, everything is to be under this Sagarmala Pariyojana. But Sagarmala is one of the policies under this Bharatmala Mission Pariyojana. Okay, so statement all three are correct. So option D will be the answer. Next is consider the following pairs of dedicated freight corridors. This is basically all the areas, all the railway lines where only freight trains will be run and no passenger trains will be there, so that we can prevent the delays in passenger trains. So statement number 1, Eastern DFC. It is going from Sahanewal, Punjab or Ludhiana to Dankuni, West Bengal. Then answer is yes. If we talk about Western DFC, it is from Dadri to JNPT, from UP to Jawaharlal Nehru Port Trust, Mumbai. Then answer is yes. This is basically Eastern DFC, which is constructed with the help of funding from World Bank. If we talk about Western DFC, it is funded by JICA, Japan International Bank. So basically, Japan India Corporation is basically responsible for the development of this Western DFC. So there will be no passenger trains in these lines on these lines, but only freight corridors will be there. Okay, so which of the pair above is correctly matched? Then answer is C, both 1 and 2.